Hi, my name is Alex, Elon DPT class of 2024, and today I'm going to start a video series on Tai Chi. So today we'll just be doing some of the basics, some of the basic postures, and some basic movements you might do when starting a Tai Chi form. So first we're going to cover just the standing posture. So just like how you should stand when regularly, we're gonna have a slight bend in our knees. We're gonna sit back a little bit with our hips, so we'll have this posterior hip flexion. I'll turn this way. So you don't want this, you want this. So slight bend in the knees, posterior hip flexion, and you want your chin slightly tucked as if the crown of your head was lifted by a string. You're gonna stand here for a moment just to get settled. And I'll turn back. So your feet can be about shoulder width. It can be a little wider if you want. Facing forward is ideal, but whatever you need for stability, if you want to face out a little bit or in a little bit, that's perfectly fine. So we're just going to stand here for a little bit and just kind of get used to the posture. And when you're in this posture, just kind of think about where you're tense. So are you tensed up in your shoulders? Are you tensed up in your belly, in your chest somewhere? You want to be completely relaxed because this is kind of the beginning posture where all your moves start. And Tai Chi is a very slow moving meditative art, so you really want to be completely relaxed. So have your body relaxed so your mind can relax as well. Just stand here for a moment and just settle. So from here, we're going to move into a little bit of footwork and stepping. And this is really important in Tai Chi because that's where all the movement comes from. Everything comes from the waists and movements from the legs. So from here, we're just going to practice a little bit of weight shifting. You're just going to shift your weight to one leg. So I'm shifting my weight to my left leg, which will let me pick up my right leg slightly. I'm just going to turn my foot. And from here, I'm going to just shift my weight to my right so I can pick up my left. Shift my weight back to the left so it's center. And we're going to try that on the other side. So I'm going to shift my weight to my right so I can turn my left. Shift my weight to my left so I can move my right. Reset. So we're going to do this a few more times just to get the hang of weight shifting, because this is really important to get when you're trying to make your moves really flow. And the name of the stance when you're at this position is called a cat stance. So you can think of it as like a cat is always ready to go. So you're sprung up all in your back leg and your front leg is ready to do whatever it needs to do. So either step or a kick or anything like that. Now we're going to add stepping. So we're only going to take one step today because I want to add in other hand techniques with the movement, and taking steps is only going to further complicate the process. So from here, we're going to do our weight shift, but once we get to our little cat stance here, we're just going to step forward. So we're going to step a little forward and a little to the side so that we have a good base of support. So you want your legs to still be about hip or shoulder width, depending on your comfort level. So from here, we're going to step forward and bring our weight to a slight lunge. So about 60% of your weight on the front leg, 40% on the back leg. And from here, we can just reset to our first position. So settle, shift the weight, and step. Let's do this for a few rounds. So I'm going to shift the weight so I can turn, shift the weight so I can bring my foot up. And then from here, my weight's already back. I can just step forward and shift my weight forward. All right, so we're gonna take a little break from all the stepping and we're just gonna go through hand postures now. So we're gonna go back to our first position, we're gonna call it ready position. And so that, remember, that is knees slightly bent so you don't pass out. Your hips are, you got a posterior pelvic tilt. So your hips are kind of looking back and you're got your chest up, your neck is your chin is slightly tucked as if you were hanging by a string. Just find that relaxation. Alright, so from here is when we're going to start to really test whether you're relaxed. What we're going to do here is you're going to bring your arms to about chest height as if you were hugging a tree. And so I'll turn this way just to show the posture. So your elbows should be down, your shoulders should be down as well. Because if you look like this, you're holding some tension up in your traps, and that will tire you out when you're in this posture. So you really just want to relax as much as you can and just hold it. So this is a form of standing meditation we do in Tai Chi called universal post. And we're not going to stand here for very long, just a few minutes, but you can either close your eyes, open your eyes, or just have them slightly open. And the idea is just focus on your breathing. So your breath should come, when you breathe, you should inhale and inflate your belly. When you breathe out, you should deflate your belly. We're just going to start here and just focus on your breathing. And if you have a thought come by, just kind of look at it and let it go. And if you ever catch yourself just kind of lost in thought, just catch yourself and let go. So once in a while, check yourself, make sure you're not tense. You should be able to hold this position for a long time. If you find yourself tiring, feel free to either let your arms down, or I encourage you to look around, like look inside yourself, see where am I tense. You might be holding tension in a place where you're not realizing it, and just simply looking for it might give you more ability to hold your hands up in this posture. So keeping the same posture, we're going to turn. Just slowly rotate from your waist. Let your waist lead. We're going to turn left and right. Still keeping that same line. Periodically check in. How's your breathing? Are you holding your breath? Are you breathing normally? And if you're breathing, is it your belly that's expanding when you're inhaling? So next time you come to center, let's pause for a moment. We're going to change it up a little bit. So from here, from center, when you turn to your right side, I want you to bring your left arm down and your right arm up, as if you were holding a beach ball. So that would have been so just imagine you're holding a beach ball as the prop over here. So it's not super close to the body, it's not super far from the body, just in the middle, just very relaxed. So from here, we're going to do our same rotation, and we're going to hold the ball. So I'm turned to my right side, and my right hand is up. And that detail will be quite important later, so don't worry if you don't have it right now. If you're not sure you have it right now, you will quickly realize when we go to the next move. So again, periodically check in on your breathing, check in on your focus. Have you gotten lost in your thoughts? Are you still breathing? The movement is just the movement. But the breathing and your mindset are what's most important here. All right, let's take a break for a moment. Okay, now we're going to combine our stepping with a hand pattern. So I'm going to show you what the movement looks like, and then we're going to kind of break it down. So the movement is called Slant Flight, and it's not particularly important that you remember the name, but that's just what it is if I ever refer to it in the future. So the movement is going to look like this. I'm going to start from our universal pose position. We're going to turn to one side, so I'm going to turn to my right for now. We're going to do that little ball rolling that we did earlier. But now, we're going to do our weight shift. So I'm going to shift to my left and turn my right foot slightly. Afterwards, I'm going to shift to my right, so my left foot can come up. So again, I'm very light. Sometimes you might want to check yourself. Can you just lift this foot without effort? Or do you have to do a weight shift? So ideally, you want to be able to lift this foot, but it's a process. Sometimes you might not be comfortable just doing that. So it's okay to put a little bit more extra weight. And from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to step out and split my hands. So it's going to look like this. And this is called Slant Flight. So my back hand, which is my right hand, is about where my hip is, and my front hand, I'm just kind of looking through it. So I'm looking through my fingers, so it's about face height. All right, so let's break it down. So let's start our universal pose position. And we're going to shift our ball right here. Hold the beach ball. From here, we're going to shift. So in order to shift, it might be a good idea to just bend your left knee. You can turn your right toe. Afterwards, shift to your right, bring your left forward. So again, we're going to step and just split our hands, letting our waist lead. So maybe in the beginning you take it just step by step and it just looks like very separate. And that's okay. That's just part of the learning process. These movements are not entirely intuitive. So it takes a little bit of practice to get very smooth. So maybe I just break it up a lot, and that's okay. So we're gonna do this for a few rounds, and then we're gonna switch to the other side. So I'm breaking it down right now. I'm turning, shifting, turning here, shifting, slight step, full step. Turning, shifting, slight step, full step. So eventually, when you get really comfortable with the movement, it all just becomes one movement. Your turn and your shift becomes one movement. Then your step becomes one movement. But at the beginning, maybe just break it down a little bit so that you understand the weight shift. Right? The weight shift, that's really important because you can't move very well if you have weight on that leg. So it's really important to make sure you get this weight shift. I can pick up this leg, do anything I want with it, right? But when I'm doing this move, it's just a simple turn. So depending on where you are, your comfort level of this movement, you might want to practice it on just one side for a while. Traditionally, Tai Chi, the forms of Tai Chi are only done on one side. So we would start a form like this, and this side is the only side we do this movement on. But it's a nice brain exercise to try to get the other side. So I will do the other side a few times, but having said that, if you're still not comfortable on one side, do just practice that one side. It's completely okay. That's normally how Tai Chi is taught. So on the other side, I'm going to turn to my left. So I'm going to bend my right knee so I can shift my weight to my left, or to my right. That lets me turn my left foot, which then I can facilitate my step. I'll break it down one more time here. So we started our universal post. Start with your turn to hold the ball. We're going to shift our weight to the right so we can turn our left foot. We're going to shift our weight to our left foot so we can step in with our right. So with our weight still really on our left foot, we're going to lunge forward, split the hands. So I'll do a few rounds just facing different directions, and I'm going to do it only on my left side facing forward, just to help you get oriented with if you have any questions about the directions. So here we go. We're going to start facing my left. So here, hold the ball, shift, step. Step. The other way. Hold the ball. Shift. Shift your weight. Turn. Step. Step. And so the full move, even in Tai Chi, even the more advanced Tai Chi practitioners will still practice very slow. The difference is that they might have more flow in their movement. So it seems one move goes to another more seamlessly. So it might look something like, if I just put it all together, it might look something like this. So again, I'm just putting the turn and the weight shift together in one motion, and then the rest of the move together in one motion. But when that's something you can work on when you're more comfortable with just the steps. All right, so we'll end it there. This is a lot of information to take in at once, especially since we went from just merely standing to actually doing a technique. But having said that, once you're comfortable with the basics, picking up techniques from here will be a lot easier, because every technique starts from something that looks like this. So I will just demonstrate a few, but the main purpose of my demonstration is to just show you that once you get this hold the ball weight shift going, once that pattern becomes very natural, the entire art of Tai Chi is accessible to you. So a few demonstrations here. So we just did this one, and it's the first move of the Tai Chi form. Now we have, so the same setup, slightly different. Once again, same setup, hold the ball. Should be very familiar. Just a different technique. All right, so let's practice that until it's comfortable, and we can add more stepping to it. That's going to add the complexity of the movement. So it's important to be really familiar and try to get that flow going before we move on from here. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions.
Hi Alex, can you tell me about Tai Chi?
So Tai Chi is a Chinese martial art. I'm not really sure too much about the history of the art as a whole, but I can kind of teach the history of the lineage that I come from. So that one, I do a style of Tai Chi called Chang style Tai Chi. So it's an offshoot of Yang style, which I think is the most commonly practiced form. And basically, Chang style is named after Great Grandmaster Chang Dong Sheng, who's like a really famous wrestler back in China and Taiwan. You can actually look him up on Wikipedia. He's got a page and all that. He's undefeated.
Wow.
Throughout his whole life, and he created this form of Tai Chi, which kind of cuts out a lot of the different movements that Yang style has. So you won't see anything like this.
Ooh.
But I find that it's very similar, and it focuses a lot on like basics and just weight shifting, and he was a wrestler, so so a lot of the postures are going to be kind of like throws,
yeah,
like sweep, like this is also a throw, this is also a throw, but it's more focused on those. But the benefits are all about very similar.
Can you tell me more about some of the benefits?
So the benefits, Tai Chi is I would call it a mindful movement art, or mind-body art, or that category of training, and it's similar to yoga, really. And Tai Chi has really good benefits for balance, because you have to have really good balance when you're trying to move slowly, and in the manner that Tai Chi is asking you for. So it's got really good balance. It has really good meditative benefits. So meditation's like a hot word nowadays, but Tai Chi and yoga and all these kinds of arts are kind of the originators of meditation, so to speak. So taking all the religion aside, these arts, especially yoga, were actually designed as physical practices to kind of unite the mind and the body. And yoga in particular, less so Tai Chi, because Tai Chi is actually just a martial art, is meant to prepare the body for seating meditation. And so you've got the mindfulness, you've got the balance, you've also got kind of postural benefits, because in order to really do Tai Chi, like good Tai Chi, a lot of the rules that make up good Tai Chi are also good for posture. So again, with the Tai Chi stance, the Tai Chi stance looks kind of like this, right? So your knees slightly bent so you don't pass out. You have this posterior pelvic tilt, and you have your chin slightly tucked, with your head kind of like as if it was suspended from a string, and you're completely relaxed. I think that's pretty representative of good posture. So Tai Chi can also improve posture in that way.
What about breathing?
So breathing, Tai Chi really focuses on belly breathing. So that's the main breathing pattern that all practitioners use when they practice the art. And I don't know too much of the science about this, but there's chest breathers where when you breathe in, you breathe your chest expands, and when you breathe out, your belly expands. Or the opposite, which is belly breathing. When you breathe in, your belly expands. When you breathe out, your chest expands.
So with belly breathing, you can take in, would you say fuller breaths?
Yes, I think
Okay.
you'd be able to take in fuller breaths, and that will pretty much increase your oxygen intake throughout the whole body. And I feel when I can take bigger breaths, I can also focus on my breath more. You can do techniques like there's a popular one going around where you inhale for 4 breaths, hold it for 4 breaths, exhale for 4 breaths.
Right.
And that really there's a lot of like research and talk about that right now. I guess I've heard it stimulates the vagus nerve, but I'm not too sure on like the whole scientific foundation of it.
Right, and that helps with calming the body.
Yes.
Could be good for stress relief. Wonderful. Can you do Tai Chi anywhere?
You can do Tai Chi pretty much anywhere. You just need a little bit of space. So I don't have. I wouldn't be able to do the whole form without making adjustments.
Okay.
But you can definitely do Tai Chi pretty much anywhere. You just need enough room where you can actually just make a stance. There are modifications you can do to stepping, such as stepping in place. And there are a lot of different Tai Chi exercises called Qigong exercises, which is just completely stationary exercises, which might work your balance. So this one's a pretty good one for balance. This one is really hard.
Wow.
But you don't really need a lot of space, and you don't need any equipment to do Tai Chi. So anyone can get started. And because it's such a gentle art that doesn't really ask you to go into any extreme positions, anyone can do it, and anyone can give it a shot.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you.
Hey everyone, it's Luke Freese from Elon CARES. Thank you so much for stopping in and watching our video. If you want to watch our most recent one, click over here. If you want to learn a little bit more about us, click down below on the social media. And before you leave, comment about your favorite part from this episode down below, okay? Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.